Okay, perfectly fine. Implement टिके confirm कर दो audio clear आसे कि नहीं तब start कर दो. Our class is already late ही साले नानी. Sorry ताकस. टिके confirm कर दो पे ना. ठीक है perfect. Okay, thank you so much. Again नमस्कार जगन्नाथ प्रणाम समस्तों को. शुभ संध्या. आमे previous classes discuss करूथिले स्टेट एग्जीक्यूटिव गवर्नर चीफ मिनिस्टर स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली काउंसिल ये सब जिनस डिस्कस करूथिले. आज क्लासेस अगेन क्लास 14 जोटा कमी सुप्रीम कोर्ट एंड हाई कोर्ट स्ट्रक्चर जुरिस्डिक्शन एंड अपॉइंटमेंट एंड पीआईएल ये सब जिनस पर ऑलरेडी हमें प्रीवियसली डिस्कस करिथिले बट ब्रीफली टिके जिबा आज क्लासेस रे देन हमें कंप्लीटली डिस्कशन करियो. ठीक है अगेन समस्त को नमस्कार प्रणाम जगन्नाथ. काली डिस्कशन अबाउट लोकल गवर्नेंस एंड ओडिशा स्पेशल प्रायोरिटी प्लेसमेंट फॉर हाई डिमांड जोटा हमें कहूचे. ठीक है जोटा कि मोस्टली सीजीएल एंड आरआई रे ए क्वेश्चन गुड़ाक आसुचे है ना. लोकल गवर्नेंस ऊपर मोस्टली सीजीएल हो किंबा आरआई रे गुड़ाक ए क्वेश्चन गुड़ाक आसुचे एंड बीएड रे भी बीएड हो सीटी हो एंट्रांस गुड़ा मोस्टली एथिरु बाय या भितरु मोस्टली क्वेश्चन गुड़ाक आसुचे. ठीक अच्छे काली क्लासेस स्टार्ट हम सेटर. ठीक अच्छे अगेन स्टार्ट करें क्लासेस. ठीक अच्छे पिला हाँ स्टार्ट करें विलंब न करी. Which article of Indian Constitution provides for the establishment and constitution of the Supreme Court of India? प्रणाम प्रणाम समस्त प्रणाम प्रणाम शुभम समस्त आंसर दो मु टिके मेडिसिन खाई दोची ठंडा धरी जाइछि. अमोक्सिलिन का उसे नहीं चुका. अमोक्सिलिन गुड एनफ. पानी भी रखे नहीं. Fine. No, so again, thank you so much. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, I'm asking a question. Question मतलब which article of the Indian Constitution provides for the establishment and constitution of the Supreme Court is the answer for the question. Article 124 हमें कुछ perfect answer है नहीं. प्रणाम प्रणाम. Good evening the best. Perfect question. Which article declares the Supreme Court to be a court of record with power to punish the contempt of itself? Speed of जीवा मैंने वेरी गुड. आर्टिकल 129 हमें कुछ हाँ नहीं पहले परफेक्ट. Article 120 declares the Supreme Court to be a court of record and shall be all the powers of the such court, including the power to punish further contempt itself. Okay. How statement raised question consider the following statement regarding the Supreme Court's original jurisdiction. Article 131 under it. प्रणाम प्रणाम प्रियांजलि. परफेक्ट. जुहर जुहर स्ट्रीम प्रणाम कौन कहूँ बोथ 1 and 2 है नहीं. It covers federal disputes between the government of India and one or more state. It covers disputes between the two or more states. With the statement is given correct पहला 1 and 2 both are correct है नहीं. which both statements are correct under Article 131, which gives the Supreme Court exclusive original jurisdiction in federal disputes. Under which article can the President seek an advisory opinion from the Supreme Court? Very good. Perfect. Pranam Soni. Pranam Prakash. So, perfect. First हो जाए मैं कुछ article 143 जो answer प्रश्न को जिबा special leave petition SLP for appeal to the Supreme Court is governed by very good. This is the answer which Article 136 is a purpose for the question. Article 136 grants the Supreme Court extraordinary discretionary power to grant special leave to appeal from any judgment or order in any matter. Which article states that there shall be a high court for each state. Check it. Oh, perfect. Very good. 214 name very good. Sunny. Perfect. Oh, Article 214 of the Constitution provides that there shall be a high court for each state. The power of high courts to issue certain writs for fundamental rights and other purposes under very good. Perfect. Perfect. No, this is the answer. Oh. Statement based question consider the statement regarding the High Court and Supreme Court jurisdictions. Good evening, Payal. Very good. Both is the proper answer. Both 1 and 2 is the proper answer. How? Which article declares every court to be a court of record with power to punish for contempt? Perfect. Article 215 is the proper answer. प्रश्न को जिबा समस्त 120 सेकंड स्किप कर दिया पहले मैंने 120 सेकंड स्किप. Parliament can establish a common high court for 2 or more states under which article? question. Perfect. I'm going to B. Article 231 is the correct answer. What is the retirement age of a judge of High Court under Article 2171? Very good. प्रणाम प्रणाम पीहू परफेक्ट आम कहे 62 years इज अ परफेक्ट आंसर हाँ 217 एक अनुसार है ना नहीं हाँ व्हाट इज द रिटायरमेंट एज ऑफ ए जज ऑफ द सुप्रीम कोर्ट अंडर आर्टिकल 124(2) वेरी गुड परफेक्ट कौन कहे 65 years आर्टिकल 124(2) अनुसार 65 years है नहीं सुप्रीम कोर्ट okay public interest litigation by PIL जो कि India was pioneered in the early 90s 1980s primarily by which judges 113 नंबर प्रश्न में अच्छे वेरी गुड जस्टिस PN भगवती वर्सेस VR कृष्णा अय्यर परफेक्ट प्लान हाउ 1980 ठीक है मन रखिबा the power of superintendence over all courts by high court within its jurisdiction is given by 14 नंबर प्रश्न में प्रणाम प्रणाम विश्वजीत प्रणाम वेरी गुड परफेक्ट भूल वाल समस्या आंसर कहूछ टिके देखि के आंसर दे दियो बी जो मनकर आंसर परफेक्ट होचे 227 इज द करेक्ट आंसर हमें कहूछ Article 227 empowers every high court to have superintendence over all courts and tribunals throughout the territories in relation to which it exercises jurisdiction. Appointment of ad hoc judges in the Supreme Court is provided under बुझिपाइली मु बुझिपाइली पूजा तम पछ पछ समस्त सही तरह सीट दे देले ना मु सेत कहली वेरी गुड परफेक्ट आम कौन कहे आर्टिकल 127 इज द परफेक्ट आंसर वेरी गुड आर्टिकल 127 provides for the appointment of ad hoc judges in the Supreme Court if there is a lack of quorum of permanent judges. So transfer of judge from one high court to another is made by the president under which article? प्रणाम प्रणाम देवी कृष्ण प्रणाम परफेक्ट आम कौन कहे आर्टिकल 222 हाँ नहीं हाउ इट इज योर हाँ हाँ ठीक है आर्टिकल 222 empowers the president after consultation with the chief justice of India to transfer judge from one high court to another perfect okay consider statements regarding the Supreme Court to collegium system जो हमें कहे very good perfect only 2 is the perfect answer नहीं पहले हमें कौन कहे it is explicitly mentioned in the original text of 1950 it भूल अछि it evolved through Supreme Court judicial pronouncements 3 judges cases जो हमें कौन कहे which correct statement 1 is incorrect because collegium system is not in the original text it evolved through judicial interpretation perfect प्रश्न को जीवा The 99th Constitutional Amendment Act to 2014 establishing the National Judicial Appointments Commission NJSC was struck down by Supreme Court in से कितना क्वेश्चन अच्छी मु जानी पारुनी आको अच्छे होची आमे अच्छे 118 1118 ठीक है नो इश्यूज थैंक यू सोनी परफेक्ट आम कहे बी 4th जजेस केस 2015 माना नहीं परफेक्ट हाँ In the four judges case, Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association BU versus Union of India 2015, the SC Supreme Court struck down the 1990 Amendment Act NJAC as unconstitutional. The law declared by the Supreme Court to be binding on all courts within India is laid down in very good. Perfect. I'm going to say 141 is the perfect answer. Oh, Article 6 just states that the law declared by the Supreme Court shall be binding on all courts within the territory of India. Oh. A review of judgment or orders by the Supreme Court is provided under very good. 137 article. No, perfect. 137 pass the Supreme Court to review any judgment pronounced or order made by it. Oh. Appointment of additional and acting judges in High Court is regulated by very good. Perfect. I am going to Article 224. Perfect plan. How? Very good. Article 224 provides for the appointment of additional and acting judges of High Courts by the President. Perfect plan. How? Consider statement on Supreme Court's original jurisdiction under Article 131. एगारश 22 नंबर प्रश्न नेमे अच्छे very good. I'm going to say only 2 is the perfect answer for the question को जीवा आने second कहिछि disputes arising out of pre-constitutional treaties are excluded from Article 131. Private citizens can file suits against the state government under Article 131. एथिरे नाही. So statement 2 is correct. Statement 1 is incorrect because private citizens cannot use Article 131. It is strictly restricted to intergovernment by intergovernmental state, center state, state disputes. The powers of the Supreme Court to punish for contempt of itself stems from the Supreme Court. कथा कहछि पूर्व हम हाई कोर्ट डिस्कशन होते सुप्रीम कोर्ट आदर कहछि very good. Perfect. 129 is the answer, but first option. Which article empowers the Supreme Court to pass any order necessary for doing complete justice in any pending matter? 1124 નો પ્રશ્ન એમ જ very good. Answer ଦେଇଦେଲ ସମସ୍ତେ perfect. I'm going to B is the correct answer. Article 142. 124 no हरे पहले मैंने ता 142 लिखा है जी ठक्क सब. Article 142 empowers the Supreme Court to pass such a decree or make such an order as is necessary for doing complete justice in any case. And Article 219 an oath or affirmation to a judge of High Court is administered by whom? 1125 नंबर प्रश्न में আছে very good. I'm going to the governor of the state or a person appointed by him. परफेक्ट प्रति प्रश्न को आर्टिकल 219 हिसाब से that a judge of a high court shall make and subscribe an oath before the government of the state of some person appointed in their behalf by him. Under which article is the seat of the Supreme Court in Delhi established with provisions for it to sit also as approved by the Chief Justice of India and the President. Very good. Article 130 is the proper answer for the question of Gujiba. Article 130 specifies that the Supreme Court shall sit in Delhi or in such other places as the Chief Justice of India with the approval of the President appointed. How under Article 132 an appeal to the Supreme Court from any judgment of the High Court lies if the High Court certifies that the case involves a substantial question of laws as to the good evening Shakti. Perfect. Interpretation of the Constitution and Article 132 provides for the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in appeals from high courts and involving substantial question of law as to the interpretation of the Constitution. Consider the statement regarding the Article 139A transfer of certain cases to the Supreme Court may transfer cases pending before the one high court to another high court. Then another kailar it can withdraw cases involving same or substantially the same question of law from high courts to itself. 28 प्रश्न है both are correct आमे जाने चाहिए है ना नहीं. Now under Article 223 when the office of Chief Justice of a High Court is vacant or when they are unable to perform duties, who appoints an acting Chief Justice? Very good. Perfect. That the President of India. Article 223 empowers the President to appoint an acting Chief Justice of a High Court when the permanent office is vacant or document is absent. Under Article 220, a person who has held office as a permanent judge of a High Court is barred from perfect practicing law in any court or before any authority in India except the Supreme Court and other. Perfect. Under Article 229, who has the authority to appoint officers and servants of a High Court? Perfect. The Chief Justice of the High Court or designated judge office. Perfect. Article 229 1 specifies that the appointment of the officers and servants of the High Court are made by Chief Justice of Court or such other judge officers direct. Under Article 230, Parliament has the power to extend the jurisdiction of High Court to or exclude the jurisdiction from any. Very good. I am going to Union Territory. Perfect. Article 230 empowers Parliament to extend the jurisdiction of a High Court to or exclude it from any Union Territory. Consider statement regarding Article 233 appointment of district judges. Very good. I am going to both 1 and 2 जोटा को appointment of the district judges in any state is made by governor of the state. It is done in consultation with the high court exercising jurisdiction in relation such a state. Perfect. आर्टिकल अंडर रे 233 से अंडर हां under article 235 the control over district courts and subordinate courts including posting and promotion is vested in very good the high court of this state. Perfect. Article 235 vests that the control over the district courts and subordinate courts including the posting, promotion and control in the state high court. Perfect. What is the constitutional significance of article 218? It applies certain provisions relating to Supreme Court judges such as impeachment removal to High Court judges. Article 218 makes provisions relating to the Supreme Court's removal process impeachment under Article 124 for Article 2 High Court judges. Perfect. Under Article 222 kahila if a High Court is satisfied that a case pending in a subordinate court involves a substantial question of law as to the Constitution itself, would the case and either dispose of itself or determine the constitutional question and return it. Perfect. Article 228 enables High Court to withdraw such a case and either dispose of itself or decide constitutional question and send it back. Which article empowers the Supreme Court to make rules for regulating generally the practice and procedure of the court? Very good. 145 is the proper answer. Very good. Article 5.5 empower the Supreme Court with the approval of the President to make rules for regulating the practice and procedure of the under Article 225, what is the jurisdictional scope of the existing High Court upon the commencement of the Constitution? Maintained as their jurisdiction immediately before the commencement of the Constitution subject to legislative changes. Perfect. Article 225 which literally means to have the body of and protects personal liberty against illegal detention. Very good. I am habeas corpus. This corpus literally means to have the body of protecting individuals from illegal detention, safeguarding personal liberty, which writ is issued by a High Court to a lower court or tribunal to prevent it from exceeding its jurisdiction. Very good. Prohibition is the right answer. Prohibition is issued by a High Court to a lower court or tribunal to prevent them from exceeding their jurisdiction or person. Which writ is issued to command a public official or body to perform public duty they are legally bound to do. Very good. Perfect level C is the right answer. No kujiba. Mandamus is the right answer. We command which writ is issued by a higher court to quash an order of lower court or tribunal that has acted excess of jurisdiction or committed error of law. 1142 নম্বর প্রশ্ন আছে। Very good. Is the correct answer हमको जो certiorari perfect plan पर प्रश्न हमको जीवा certiorari to be certified जो कि issued to pass an order decision of a lower court to tribunal that exceeding jurisdiction or committed legal errors. Perfect. Which writ is issued to inquire into the legality of a person's claim into public office. Perfect. नंबर जो coerento होना नहीं पिलन perfect. प्रश्न coerento by what authority is issued to prevail illegal usurpation of a public office by an unqualified person. एटा लागू हुई जो recently B.ED scam चली ची ना ओडिशा रे एटा लागू हुई under article 134 a certificate for appeal to the Supreme Court of from a High Court judgment is given जो B.ED कॉलेज गुड़ा कर लेक्चरर जो पोस्ट स्कैम है जी ना सीटा पे by the High Court either on its own motion or open oral application immediately after judgment. Article 134A regulates the certificate for the appeal to the Supreme Court which the High Court can grant on its own motion or oral application right after judgment. Okay, statement response consider the statement regarding the public interest litigation PIL. Corruption हबरे पिले फुल एंड जॉब कले भल हबो सबुठु भल रा चाष both 1 and 2 is the correct answer for the story. Under Article 126, when the office of Chief Justice of India is vacant or the CJ is absent, who appoints an acting Chief Justice? President of India is the correct answer for the question. Under Article 128, a retired judge of the Supreme Court can be requested to sit and act as a judge of the Supreme Court by चाषरे मनी वेस्ट होने पिले माने चाष दिए प्रॉफिट द चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया विथ द प्रीवियस कंसेंट of the president. Perfect प्रश्न को जवाब Article 128 permits the Chief Justice of India with the previous consent of the president to request a retired Supreme Court judge to sit and act as judge. Consider the statement regarding High Court jurisdiction. Very good. Perfect. Only one is the correct answer for the question. Which article prohibits judges of the Supreme Court from pleading or acting in any or before any authority within the territory of India after retirement? Article 124(7 हमें कुछ perfect for the question को जीवा Article 124(7 कौन कुछ explicitly bars the persons who had held office as a judge of the Supreme Court from pleading or acting in any court or before any authority within India. What is the constitutional status of the High Court rules made under Article 225 and Article 227? Very good. They are subject to the provisions of the Constitution and the laws made by the state legislature and parliament जोटा है ना perfect rules made by courts for regulating practice and procedure are subject to the provisions of the constitution and are relevant legislative enactments. Okay, which article of the Indian Constitution governs the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in civil matters? Very good. (133) is the proper answer for the question. Very good. Oh. Article 133 governs the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in appeals from the High Court judgments in civil matters involving substantial question of law. Under which article does the Supreme Court exercise appellate jurisdiction in criminal matters? Criminal matters. Good evening, ma'am. Education. 134 is the correct answer for this. Article 134 outlines the appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in criminal matters, including the death sentence appeals under specific condition. Which article empowers Parliament to enlarge the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court with respect to any of the matters in the Union list? Very good. There is the correct answer. Article 138. Perfectly. Article 138 empowers the Parliament to enlarge the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court with respect to any matter in the Union list by special agreement. Perfect. For the question, statement is question of the statement regarding the Supreme Court's ancillary powers. Very good. Both 1 and 2 is the correct answer for the question. Pranam mystery. Perfect. Both statements are correct under Article 139 and 140 is the respective. Perfect. Which article mandates that all civil and judicial authority acting in the territory of India shall act in aid of the Supreme Court? ଅଛି ପରା ଏଇ 139 and 140 ହିସାବରେ at 139 empowers Parliament to confer the Supreme Court power to issue writs for matters other than fundamental rights. ठीक ଅଛି. Article 140 empowers Parliament to supplement the powers of the Supreme Court to make it more effective. ବୁଝିପାରନ୍ତି କୋ ବୁଝିପାରିଲା ठीक है बुझ पे मैंने आर्टिकल 139 हिसाब से कौन कहे एम्पावर करे पार्लियामेंट में जो नॉर्मली बुझ जो 139 कौन कहे पार्लियामेंट में बाय लॉ कन्फर ऑन द सुप्रीम कोर्ट द पावर टू इश्यू रिट्स फॉर पर्पसेस अदर देन दोस मेंशन्ड इन आर्टिकल 32 जोटा कहे ठीक अच्छे मैंने आर्टिकल 32 रे जहाँ मेंशन अच्छी ताकू छाड़ माने कौन तो ठीक अच्छे माने फंडामेंटल राइट्स रो एनफोर्समेंट को छाड़ी की बाकी सब आम कहे करि परिबो ठीक अच्छे पार्टी को बाकी 140 कौन कहे पार्लियामेंट माने कौन तांकर नियम हिसाब रे कौन कहे सुप्रीम कोर्ट को कौन कहि पारि माने कन्फर्म करि परिबो जे नेसेसरी जहाँ भी नेसेसरी एक्शंस माने फंक्शन गुड़ा को इफेक्टिवली एक्टिव रखिबा पई ऑर्डर दे पारबो आर्टिकल 140 अंडर रे हम जानि आर्टिकल 140 कहूचे जे एडिशनल सप्लीमेंटरी पावर्स जोटा हम कहूचे 139 कहले एडिशनल रिट पावर 140 कहले एडिशनल सप्लीमेंटरी पावर समस्त जानी छो एटा ना नहीं सर आड को ऑफ कर दियंतु करूछ वेरी गुड गोटे सेकंड मैं आड ऑफ कर दूँ गोटे सेकंड पे मैंने समय दियो 10 मिनिट्स में पॉज हो पाइबो 10 मिनिट्स में पॉज कर देछि हाँ स्पीड अप जीवा पिला माने हमको आउरी 55 टी क्वेश्चन आउरी 45 टी क्वेश्चन डिस्कस करिबार अछि समस्ते तेरी चांस ऑलरेडी आर्टिकल 144 इज द प्रोनाउंस बहुत प्रश्न को जीवा अंडर आर्टिकल 217 2 व्हाट आर द रिक्विजिट प्रोफेशनल क्वालिफिकेशन फॉर ए पर्सन टू बी अपॉइंटेड एज अ हाई कोर्ट जज जोटा कहउछे very good how some answer idelu pilane perfect please the answer must have held a judicial office in India for 10 years been an advocate of a high court for 10 years perfect article 217 2 requires a person to have a held a judicial office in India for 10 years been a high court advocate for 10 years to be appointed as a judge perfect salaries and allowance of high court judges are charged upon the consolidated fund of the state under which article this question answer पर मार्क कर देली पूरा एटा कथा कहउछ कि सी पूरा मार्क कर आर्टिकल 144 ठीक है क्लियर वेरी गुड संसांस देलो परफेक्ट आम कहूचे 221 ठीक अछि परफेक्ट हाँ salaries and allowance of high court judges are charged upon the considered fund of the state under 221 है ना under which article can a retired judge of the high court to be requested to sit and act as a judge of the high court परफेक्ट हमको आर्टिकल 224 है ना नहीं पहले परफेक्ट Article 224 added by the 15th Amendment Act provides for the appointment of the retired judges to sit and act as judge of high courts. Perfect statement is question consider statement regarding the jurisdiction of high courts. निश्चित 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 पठाई देबी क्लास आज क्लास तो सरी जीवो एटा सेशन कंप्लीट हो जाओ एफिडे भी दे दी तमान ठीक है student 2 is correct statement 1 is incorrect because certain high courts like Bombay Calcutta Madras do possess original civil jurisdiction perfect requirement of persons other than district judges to the judicial service of a state is governed by very good perfect Article 234 is the answer for the question को जीवा Article 234 provides the recruitment of persons other than district judges to the judicial service of a state by governor in constitution with the PSC which article provides for the exercise of the jurisdiction of the federal court by the Supreme Court under existing laws परफेक्ट हो समस्त आंसर दे दीजिए 135 इज द करेक्ट आंसर टिक्के पे लेने डस कौन से मन रखिबा which article by the exercise of the jurisdiction of the federal court by the supreme court under existing laws जोटा को article 135 परफेक्ट ठीक है article 135 states that the supreme court shall have jurisdiction and power in relation to any matter not covered by article 133 or 34 if exercisable by the federal court under existing law under article 124(6) every person appointed as a every person appointed as a judge of the Supreme Court shall make and subscribe an oath before perfect the president or some person appointed in the behalf in that behalf perfect article 124(6) mandates the Supreme Court judges make the subscribe an oath before the president or a person appointed by him perfect constitutional statement regarding the Supreme Court's advisory jurisdiction article 143 statement based questions must देखी जाए आंसर तो advice given that the Supreme Court is strictly binding on the president in all cases no president can't be binded by the Supreme Court says the supreme one more than Supreme Court the president can refer questions of law or fact of importance to the Supreme Court for the question को जीवा one is the correct answer option 2 is incorrect because the Supreme Court's opinion is purely advisory and not legally binding on the president in chapter VI or part VI in chapter VI or part VI of the Constitution the term district judge is interpreted and defined in which article ठीक है घूम दे दी बेटी पे मल्टीपल स्पैम करनी समस्त को article 236 is the correct answer for the question को validation of certain appointments of district judges under state rules is addressed in which article 1165 नंबर प्रश्न है (233A) is the correct answer for the question को very good article 233A validates certain appointments of the district judges and the judgment derived by them to specific judicial pronouncement perfect for the question को under article 241 parliament may by law constitute a high court for a union territory or declare any court in such a territory to be a high court very good yes the parliament has the power to constitute a high court for a UT or declare any court as such perfect put article 241 under question comes the statement regarding the judicial independence in India perfect very good which only one kahin in the security of tenure of Supreme Court and High Court judges is constitutionally guaranteed The conduct of judges can be freely discussed in Parliament at any time without restriction. No, there is restriction. Parliament can't discuss about Supreme Court. Supreme Court hearings and judgments can't be discussed properly, but also Supreme Court can't take any actions about Parliament discussions. Same. Article 121 to 11 strictly bar discussion registers and regarding the judge conduct except on impeachment. Impeachment over administrative exercise by the Supreme Court, including salaries and allowance of the officers, are charged upon which Constitutional Fund of India, perfect for those Article 146, 146.3 specify that administrative expenses of the Supreme Court shall be charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India. Perfect for those administrative expenses of the State High Court are charged upon very good. Perfect. Is the answer Consolidated Fund of State time perfect. And 229.3 states that the administrative expenses of the High Court shall be charged upon the Consolidated Fund of the State. Perfect. Which article empowers the Supreme Court to review any judgment or order pronounced by it? Perfect. Article 137 is the answer for the question. But Article 137 empowers the Supreme Court to review any judgment pronounced or order by it, subject to parliamentary law rules. Perfect. And Article 222, the transfer of the judge from one High Court to another requires consultation with whom? Perfect. The Justice of India is the answer for the question. Article 22 mandates that the President may transfer a judge from one High Court to another after constitution of the Chief Justice of India. Okay, statement based to question. The consider the statement regarding the Public Interest Litigation (P.ED). There's some answer the everyone. Only 2 is the perfect answer. Statement 2 is correct, but statement 1 is incorrect because PI especially relaxes locus standi and allowing public spirited citizens to file on behalf of victims. And Article 127, if there is a lack of quorum, PIL कहले कौन कुछ public interest को जोटा harm करूथिबो सेटा माने publicly opinion गोटे एमितिया opinion जोटा publicly माने लोगों को धार्मिक हो आंतरिक हो मनस्थिक भावना को कष्ट दो सेटा भी कह तो lack of permanent Supreme Court judges to hold a continuous session who can request attendance of ad hoc judges. नैतिकता दृष्टि खराब थी The Chief Justice of India in the consultation with the Chief Justice of the High Court to consult with the previous consent of the President. है ना consent कहले कौन मत बा इच्छा जोटा Article 127 permit the CJ with the previous consent of the President and the constitution of the High Court to Chief Justice to appoint ad hoc Supreme Court judges. Which article restricts the power of High Courts to issue writs in matters concerning the revenue collection unless the challenge on constitutional invalidity. नहीं तो बस ठंडा मोस्टली कम नहीं मोर सेमती नॉर्मली ही गलानी है मन रखता पे मैंने 1174 क्वेश्चन टा टिके मतलब बनौली गोटे कन्फ्लिक्ट देखिली तो या भल से कौन कौन मैं टिके रिवाइज करके मुझे 2टा क्वेश्चंस बनई ठीक अच्छे रिवाइज करके आउट सेकंड क्वेश्चन बनी भी देखीद ठीक अच्छे Article 226 B omitted historical context revenue limitation in specific civil codes under Article 225 and 226 ठीक अच्छे historically under statutory interpretation tied Article 225 to 226 precedents ठीक अच्छे how ଏବେ revised question ଟା ଦେଖ question होगा सो चौथा under Article 224 who is empowered to appoint additional judges to High Court for a temporary period not exceeding 2 years. Perfectly, and the President of India is the answer. But Article 44 empowers the President to appoint duly qualified persons as an additional judges of High Court for temporary period not exceeding 2 years. Perfect. Which article provides that the law declared by the Supreme Court shall be binding all courts within the territory of India. Article 141 is the proper answer. But question को जीवा how speed of जीवा which article empowers the Parliament to confer the Supreme Court power to issue writs for matters of the other than fundamental rights. Speed of जीवा current जाऊ जी आसुची very good. Article 139 is the answer. But pranam sami. Start next question. Supreme Court's rule making power under Article 145. Very good. Both 1 and 2 is the proper answer. Very good. Article 145.1 and Article 145.3. Under which article does the High Court issue writs for enforcement of fundamental rights or any other purposes? So, it is not a question. Planned up to down as a current judge has problem. 206 the problem. But the Snokojiva statement question 227 power of the superintendent over all courts by High Court. A current judge निश्चिंत पायल निश्चिंत अधिक अधिक क्वेश्चन आने चेष्टा करियो स्टेटमेंट क्वेश्चन एंती साउंड गोटे होची माने शॉर्ट सर्किट हला बडी साउंड द हाई कोर्ट एज एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एंड जुडिशियल कंडक्ट ऑफ ऑल सबऑर्डिनेट कोर्ट्स फॉर प्रत्यक्ष जीवा ऑन आर्टिकल 136 and acting chief justice of India is appointed by forward the president of India is the answer for question को ଏବେ କରେଣ୍ଟ ଯାଉଛି ଆସୁଛି ଗୋଟେ ସାଉଣ୍ଡ ଟାଇପ୍ର ଗୋଟେ ହେଉଛି ମାନେ ଚଡ଼ ଚଡ଼ ହେଲା ଭଳିଆ ହେଉଛି ଆର୍ଟିକଲ 136 Article 224 provides for the appointment of the whom to sit act judges of High Courts. Very good. Retired judges of High Courts. Perfect. Which article empowers the Supreme Court to pass any decree or order necessary for doing complete justice in any pending causes? Na. Article 142. Article 142. Supreme Court pass any decree or order necessary for the to bring complete justice in any cause of matter pending before it. Article 2 upon the declare every court to be a dash. Perfect. Is the word answer court of record and goes perfect. Special leave to appeal SLP to the Supreme Court from any judgment in any matter is granted under. Very good. Article 136 is the answer for question. First statement of questions must answer the disputes. It deals with the legal disputes between the center and one or more states. Perfect. Disputes related to commercial matters. No, commercial private tense of policy prakare lagu hue nahi. Only one is the perfect answer. What question? PL in India allowed the relaxation of which traditional legal procedure rule? Perfect. Locus standi by niche pidita hebar baಧ್ಯता. Perfect. Under Article 231, the Parliament may establish which. Perfect. Yeah, common high court for two or more states. Perfect. So under Article 271, a judge of high court holds office until the trial attain the age of perfect. 62 is the pronunciation. So take it slow. ठीक है. Which article estates the Supreme Court as a court of record with contempt powers? नहीं करंट जाऊँ आसूची ना टिके रिस्क अच्छी सिस्टम गुड़ा क्रैश माने चार्ज हठात चार्ज करेंटली लागी कि अच्छी माने हठात हाई पावर हाई वोल्टेज आसे पुणी हाई वोल्टेज पड़े जाउछ on article 222 transfer of the judge from the high court to another order पे ମୁଁ ସେଇଦିନ ଜଲ୍ଦି ସାରିବାକୁ ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ହେଉଛି President after Constitution of the Chief Justice of India. Perfect. question को ଯିବା Okay, student this question. Supreme Court's advisory jurisdiction under Article 143. এই প্রবলেমটা হচ্ছে দেখো এই যে সাউন্ডটা হচ্ছে এটা হাই পাওয়ার আসিগলে মানে হাই পাওয়ার আসিগলে যেতବେଳେ মানে সিস্টম ফ্লোরে হাই পাওয়ার পড়ে আসছে এমতি হচ্ছে মানে হাই ভোল্টেজ जोटा कुछ हाई वोल्टेज जोटा ଆସିଗଲେ ସେମିତି ସାଉଣ୍ଡ ଆସୁଛି ଅଣ୍ଡର ଆର୍ଟିକଲ 233 ଆପଏଣ୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ ଡିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ ଜଜେସ୍ ଇନ୍ ଷ୍ଟେଟ୍ ଇଜ ମେଡ୍ ବାଇ ଠିକ ସମାଧାନ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ଅଛି ଆମେ the government of state in constitution of the high court perfect प्रश्न को ଯିବା which article empowers the supreme court to review its own judgment or orders ମାନେ ସେଇଥି ପାଇଁ ତମେ ଜାଣେ ସୁଗା ଯାଉଥିବ ତମେ ଶୁଣା ଯାଉଛି ନା ନାହିଁ ପିଲା ମାନେ ଯୋଟେ ଏକ୍ସୋଟିକ ସାଉଣ୍ଡ ହଠାତ୍ ପଳେଇ ଆସୁଛି perfect 137 under article 219 oath an oath to a high court judge is administered by जी पुणी पानी आनिबाकू जेबी तळकू नहीं पुणी साउंड आवे पर्सन अपॉइंटेड बाय हिम परफेक्ट प्रश्न को जो also the statement regarding the high court to writ jurisdiction article 26 it can be invoked only for the violation of fundamental rights no it is an integral part of the basic structure of the cost perfect article 141 specifies that the law declared by the supreme court shall be binding on all courts within the territory of perfect माने केते थरा भीतर देखि चलणी हाई लो होउछ on article 127 add of judges सेंती काढी दे करंट चार्ज काढी दे न पड़ी जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट आर अपॉइंटेड देवन just perfect man under article 235 control over district courts and subordinate courts is vested in perfect नमक हो the state high court perfect चार जो काढी देला पर कुछ प्रॉब्लम which article mandates that all civil and judicial authorities in India shall act aid of the supreme court article 144 is the proper answer for this प्रश्न को जीवा how last statement question last question रखितले some आंसर दे दियो एटी मस्सा मु एटी माउस पॉइंटर रे माने फिंगर यूज करूची से मो हाथ ऊपर बसी सेतबेल ठार कामुडी मत किछि भी कहू नाही शेष रे मोटा हे गला एबे उड़ी पारुने मो आखि सामने ताको एबे फांका देखी मार देवी put 1 and 2 is the right answer. Oh, both statements are correct. Safeguarding judicial independence and article. Perfect. ओके एगेन तो मन सिलेबस अंडर रे हमर आर्टिकल 4 कंप्लीट हे गला सॉरी आर्टिकल 4 न यूनिट 4 कंप्लीट हे गला काली मु एक्सपेक्ट करू छी हिस्ट्री क्लासेस टिके आनिबा टिके पॉलिटिकल साइंस फोल्ड करबा ना कोन को चबले माने टिके हिस्ट्री क्लासेस आनिबा पॉलिटिकल साइंस फोल्ड करबा नै माने एगेन किछि माने हिस्ट्री किछि सिलेबस कंप्लीट कर सला पर एगेन पुणी आमे हमरो सिलेबस को पळे आसबा अना नै पिले मान हो एगेन थैंक यू सो मच तो जन सारे सेशन मान दतु जन एक्सपेक्ट करू जे क्लासेस मते बुझ पड़े जदी कहार किछि डाउट छ निश्चित भाबरे कमेंट जणेबा नले मेसेज कर दो मते व्हाट्सएप रे जदी वीडियो भल लागते निश्चित भाबरे लाइक करबा को भूलिबा नै पिले माने समस्त वीडियो को लाइक एंड शेयर करबा को भूलिबा नै थैंक यू जय जगन्नाथ शुभरात्रि समस्त गुड नाइट टू ऑल थैंक यू ऑल जय जगन्नाथ वंदे उत्कल जननी पिले मान